What's up guys, Hobbo88 here and welcome to Bristol baby. iRacing Build Week, we love iRacing Build Week, and this time around the new dirt track that's coming to the service is an existing track in Bristol, but now we've got dirt on it, which is epic. I love this idea, I love the whole idea of this track having dirt on it. I love the fact that it's back after such a long absence in the real world, and I love that we get to do it in the sim. I'm pretty excited about this, guys. A lot of nostalgia around this for me, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later in the video. But basically, we're going to go through here and have a quick run, do a few laps, check out the replays of all of the dirt cars in the iRacing service here on the Bristol clay. Should be really good fun. As always, guys, the timestamps will be in the description below. If you want to skip ahead and just check out a specific car, you can do that. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know what car you're most excited about driving here or seeing at Bristol on the dirt. Be that in the sim here on iRacing, but also in real life. I'd be keen to hear from you guys and get your thoughts about that. But let's get cracking. Let's get stuck straight into it. And we're going to kick things off with the legend here on the half mile at Bristol. All right, guys. So as is customary, we start this off with some of the slower cars on the service, I guess, and work our way up to the fast ones. So we're going to kick things off with the Dirt Legend, which I suspect will be a very small car for this track because it's quite a large track. We're just on the iRacing baseline setup, which is what we'll be doing throughout the whole video, just run the baseline setups for the track. But I suspect that this track will be big enough. There is no sixth gear. That it will be probably a bit too big for these particular cars, but I'll go out here and rip a few laps anyway. We're currently at sunrise, so the earliest possible time of day on a 0% track state, so full tacky track. I'm going to get out here and check this out, but I've done a little bit of racing here at Bristol on the paved version in iRacing. Not a lot, just a few races, a handful, mostly in NASCAR, but that's not a track that I've raced at a whole hell of a lot, but I'm interested to see how this goes in a few different cars, because I think there'll actually be a couple of cars in the service that this works really well in. I think there'll be a few that it's pretty poorly matched with, but I think there'll be a few that it actually works. Now, by yourself, 0% track state in a Dirt Legend, not particularly exhilarating, although in saying that, the speeds are pretty high. What have we got? 150 kilometers an hour down the straights. But in some ways, I think the racing around here in these could actually be okay. It'd almost be like plate racing legends on a track like this. Of course, it is pretty large in dirt track standards, half mile or just slightly over. So pretty big track. But because of the extreme banking, cars like this are, I mean, they're pretty much just drive them around in a straight line. It's definitely not like some of the more flatter technical tracks. The banking here just holds these things onto the ground pretty well. Up to nearly 30 degrees of banking on the progressive banking in the corners here, I think. That's pretty amazing. So right up here near the fence, progressive banking on the asphalt. I'm not sure what the banking is like for dirt. It might be a little bit less, but it's still pretty crazy. So we're pretty much just flat out top gear, just tapping the limiter at the end of the straights. And that's about what I expect from the Legends. So I think some of the cars are going to struggle here to really be difficult to drive. I think there's going to be a lot of them will be pretty easy to drive around here. But as we get to the faster cars, I think that's going to be a little bit of a different case. So let's go ahead and park up the Legend and we'll come back and check out what the dirt street stock is like right after this. Alright, here we go. Dirt street stocks, which I'm not quite sure what these things are going to be like, actually. We're about to find out. Again, we're on the iRacing baseline set. 20% track usage now, so you can sort of see it's a bit slicker. And these are big lumpy cars, fairly cumbersome. And we're into the limiter in these pretty good down the end of the straight, but probably scaled more accurately for this track. Much bigger car. The Legend looked tiny out there on the track compared to what this is like, so I kind of feel like perhaps these could be reasonably good to race around here, but I mean, it's hard to say. So we get very tight on corner entry down there. Had to even grab a little bit of brake. The banking is immense. That's a bit better. And it's such a fast track too. I'll change in the next car if I remember. I'll change from metric to imperial so we get miles per hour, so we can get a bit better idea of what sort of speeds cars are doing. You can see this thing is only just over 10 k's an hour quicker on the straights than the Legend car, but there's still very, very high speeds. It's fast. I mean, it is called the world's fastest half mile, but I don't know that it actually is. I think, well, that's what they call Volusia. Maybe this is the world's fastest, like, paved half mile. I'm not sure, but it makes sense because the banking. I mean, it's quite amazing that Volusia is as fast as it is because it's pretty flat. Something like this, you can see how it would be the fastest half mile. I mean, the huge banking, you can carry a lot of speed through the corners. Pretty amazing complex though, the Coliseum and the stadium like arena type I guess infrastructure. I mean, racing cars around here, especially racing dirt cars around here, would be pretty amazing because there's nothing else like it really as far as dirt racing goes on this scale. But even racing NASCARs and things around here on pavement would be pretty amazing. See if we can't run just a little bit lower here for a lap. And even there I could feel the apron, the point where the apron would normally be in the paved. There it is right there. It seems a little lower perhaps than what it actually is when it's paved. But the apron might be a little lower for the dirt. That's interesting. Again though, when you're by yourself, probably not quite powerful enough to get you up on your seat, but I do feel like these might race reasonably well around here. It's hard to say, but the track the way it is, maybe you could actually get a couple of grooves going in these, so not sure. Not sure. But either way, that's the dirt street stocks. We'll have a look at the replay, and then we're going to come back in the UMP Modifieds, which will be interesting because they've had a lot of updates in this build as well. So let's go check those out right after this. Right, UMP Modifieds. Middle of the day, noon for the skybox, and now we're at 50% track state. You can see it's really slicking it off. Now these cars have been overhauled with the new build, so I've got no idea what they're going to drive like. Better, worse, or what, I don't know. Word on the street was that it looked like they might be going to get the big block tyre on it, which would be pretty awesome if it did, because I like the big block and I think the tyre on it's good. But I drive these things so infrequently that I probably aren't going to notice the difference. And I especially won't on this track because, I mean, it's so different to any other track in iRacing on the dirt surface side of stuff, really. I guess its closest comparison would be made with maybe Eldora in the corners, and it's almost like USA Speedway on the straights, Lakeland. Long skinny, or long straights and high bank corners, so it's a bit of a weird mashup. What I will say though is we're finally into a car that's got enough power that you actually sort of got to drive it. And now that it's getting slick, man, you're really working it through the corners. I've sort of been staying away from any spoilers around any of the new content too. I'm a little bit late getting on and getting onto the update here and recording some stuff, but I know people have been driving all day since the new update came out here in Australia, but I've been staying clear of any spoilers on anything and trying to keep it so I can make my own judgment on things. I mean, the UMP, well, honestly, it actually feels okay to drive, but it feels very different to what I remember, and I don't know if I'm getting tricked by that, but it almost feels really rigid, kind of. And the car didn't, like, it used to sort of drive very sideways, but it doesn't feel quite like that now. Not quite sure. I feel like it used to pendulum a lot off the front end. Maybe it's the track, but it does feel different. But it feels almost like a plank now. It doesn't feel very soft. It used to always feel quite soft, but here it feels pretty rigid. It's the best way for me to explain it, but I don't know. Time will tell. We won't know until we try it on a couple of different tracks, probably, but that's my just initial very first impression of the car since it's been changed. And I already feel like I'm liking the high line here. Anyway, that's the UMP Modified. Let's park that. Plenty of grip still on the bottom down there. But let's check out the replay, guys. Then when we come back, we're going to get into our first proper open wheeler. We'll hit up the Midget next and see what that's like around here on a really slick track. So don't go anywhere. Here we go. the Bristol setup on the Midget. We're now in the afternoon with an 80% track state. Oh boy. Whenever I do these videos where I preview all the cars, the Midgets are always excellent fun. I really wish I could drive them more often. I need to find a Midget league, I reckon. But, I mean, this is a huge track. I don't know if these things are going to be any good around here or not. Although so far... Oh, yep. I thought we were in the fence, but we're not. So far... Oh yeah, they're fun. They never fail to disappoint. Well, they never fail to... Sorry, I think I got that wrong. They never fail to impress. What I meant to say. That wall's super scary, but... And the Midget feels pretty planted too. I don't think it had any changes, but... It's got a lot of drive on corner exit. Maybe that's the track with the banking more than anything. The thing just drives forwards down off the corners. It's still pretty wild on corner entry. Loose, sliding over the slick. But then once you get the grip, the thing just drives. I think it's the banking. I think that's what that is. They're always fun. Roll around the bottom? Not really. I think the top's better, but... One thing I will say, even here, and we'll find out more at the next car when we go to 100% track state, but so many tracks on iRacing, once you get to a high track state, the bumps down the straights are out of control. And it could be different when it's like manually worn instead of a generated track. But the bumps on the straights here don't seem that bad. There's a little bit... Well, not really, even hardly any at all. I hate when they get big holes in the straights. I don't know whether or not maybe that's not such a big deal at this track, or if it's just because it's the iRacing generated track states. I can't remember if the holes appear only in actual, naturally worn out tracks, but... I'm happy that they're fairly smooth here. I don't mind some bumps, but they get out of control. Especially the ones with long straights, like USA. I love it. I love it. We need to race midgets more. That's for sure. These cars are great. Let's check out the replay, guys, and we're going to come back, like I already alluded to, we're going to come back and check out a 100% track state, completely worn out track. And we're going to do that in the big blocks right after this. Alright, you guys, let's do it. The big blocks. 100% track state. into the late afternoon. Shadows are starting to descend across the track surface here at Bristol. And this is the only car that I've got any real laps in currently. It's been a while since we've driven any of the other dirt cars on iRacing. It's the only thing we've really been driving this season. I have been enjoying it. It's been good fun. I'll be interested to see what happens with this track, like once you start seeing races on it, whether or not it... The thing that worries me is that it will only stay one groove. Like, you'll start running around the bottom, as the track wears, you'll just work your way up the hill till you end up here on the fence, and then the track will just stay one groove. Two things, I guess, from that. One might be you start to see that slider line develop that you see a lot on really slick tracks, especially wide tracks, and because there's such long straights here, it might be possible that once it goes full slick, if everyone's just running the fence, you'll start to see this line right here. Because of the long straights, the wide track, maybe that slider becomes a bit more feasible on a track like this, which would be cool. But I do worry that you won't be able to just run around the bottom here. As the track goes away, it won't be fast. If any car could do it, it would probably be these. These big blocks seem to be pretty good in the slick. But I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. We'll find out in due course. What I will say though is I still love these cars. I've been missing some of the others, but these big blocks are still great to drive. Alright, let's check out the replay of the big block around here for a couple of laps, and when we come back we'll pull the track state right back down again and we'll run in the wingless sprint cars. Oh, my favourite in all these track preview videos. You guys love watching me struggle in the wingless sprint car. I really don't know what to expect from that car around here actually, so we'll see what that does when we come back here right after this. Ah, yes. Into the sunset here at Bristol. And out rolls the 360 wingless sprint car. 20% track state, because I think that's more than enough for me to struggle. You guys know what's about to happen. I'm probably about to go into orbit. What do we got? 140 miles an hour down into the corner. It's just asking for trouble. This damn car's like my kryptonite. I have no idea how to drive it. But I love it. I love it. Oh boy, is it fun to drive. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. Insert Kimi Räikkönen, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Comment right here. Fake it till you make it. Because I have no clue. When you actually get it in there nice and you get through the corner smoothly, it's good. I mean, it's only got 20% track state on it. On a slick track, I would have gone over the fence 15 times already. Oh, that's tight off the corner. I have no comment on whether or not this car would be any good at this track, because for me, they're a handful no matter where you take them. Just surviving in these things is half the challenge for me. Although I have to say, I actually feel like they drive pretty good around here. I'm just making it look a lot harder than it actually is, I think. And I already know the comments you guys are going to say, we need to see more wingless racing. You guys love it. Oh. Nailed it. We're going for the late apex. Very intentionally. Oh, what a line. I wonder whether or not that would be a feasible line in any car around here. I can't imagine it would be any good. Alright, let's park this before I fence it and look like an idiot. More of an idiot. That's it for the Wingless Sprint Car, guys. We'll check out the replay of those laps. And next we're actually going to come back in the NASCAR. Normally we would do the truck for the dirt stuff, but this time we're going to do the A car. So don't go anywhere. That should be interesting, and that will be right after this. I don't know what to expect about this one. Cup cars on the dirt. Normally in these videos we use the trucks, because up until this point the trucks have been the only... Oh my goodness, there's not much grip. The trucks have been the only NASCAR class to run on dirt. They have done it at Eldora. But now we finally get to see the Cup cars hit the high banks on the clay. There we go, that's a little bit better. We're at 40% track state, so it's a little bit worn. It's certainly not a fresh track, but it's also not completely worn out either. And we are at night now, night time. Once you sort of figure out how to get them to rotate on the turn in, they make a lot more sense, but it drives a lot better than I thought it was going to. I'm not gonna lie. I had very low expectations. I mean, we're still, what, 70 miles an hour at our lowest mid-corner speed. Up over 100 miles an hour on the straight. That's pretty insane. On dirt in a half-mile track. In a pavement car, essentially. I wonder what the over-under will be for Kyle Larson to win this race in real life. But I'm excited. I'm very interested to see how the dirt goes with these cars. I like it. I like seeing NASCAR back on dirt. A lot of the purists like it, and a lot of them hate it. Mixed feelings about dirt in the Cup Series, but I think it's cool, obviously, as a dirt racing fan. I like it. But anyone that knows me knows I'm a fan of big horsepower, small tyres. And then you throw in dirt, you know I'm going to like it. Oh boy. Alright, so next we come back to the big bangers of dirt. Well, I shouldn't say sedan racing, but the super late models, we're going to have a look at those next. We'll go back into the daytime, rip a few laps in the super lates and see what they're like around here, because I think they're going to be pretty awesome as well. So let's check the replay here and then we'll be back for that. Alright, super late model time. These two last cars are the two that I've been looking forward to the most. So we're at 60% track state now here in the super late model. Back in the morning, and I fully expect that these cars that we finish this video with are going to be insane. 130 mile an hour on the straight on a fairly slick track. We'll slowly start working our way up to this wall. Oh yeah. I love it. They just through the slick, they get to the cushion and just grip up. Oh no. Too brave. These things will take your breath away in real life. For sure. Oh, I love it. Oh, that was nice. That was nice through there. And again through there. Beautiful. Oh, that's as close as you get. Ooh. Yeah, I could see these things throwing slide jobs. The way that you drive down into the bottom down there, like... in real life, you just about get that weightless sensation. You drive that far down into there, hit the bottom. That would be kind of amazing. Oh man. Can't help it, I've got to go back up here and rip another lap up the top. I'm very, very excited to watch the Outlaws, the late model Outlaws that is, race at this track. Oh, you guys, it's awesome. It's awesome. All right, replay, and then we're back for the Granddaddies, the 410 sprint cars, guys. Save the best for last, so we'll be back for that right after this. Oh, my sweet buttery Jesus. Here we go. 410 sprint cars. Let's get the wing set. Where's the wing at? It was all the way back, I think. We need it pretty far back too, because it's slick. It's the afternoon. We've left the track state the same as we just had in the late models. Just the Bristol baseline iRacing setup. We haven't turned a lap in a wing sprint car in a while. 140 mile an hour. Oh! We've got to try and figure it out and smooth it out a bit. Guys, this is the car that I've been most excited for on this track. And it's because it's a nostalgia factor for me. The last time I ripped laps at Bristol, on the dirt in a sprint car. My favorite game of all time, World of Outlaws 2002 on the PlayStation 2. In all the years I ran R-Factor, I don't believe I ever ran a Bristol dirt configuration in a sprint car. And it's a combination that, for me, in my childhood, I mean, the early days of being a sprint car fan for me, I didn't get to watch any Outlaws. Over here in Australia, it wasn't broadcasted or televised in any way that I was aware of anyway as a kid. And I mean, they ran that combination of the sprint cars on this track in the dirt back in, what, 2000, 2001? And I mean, I never got to see it back then. The only vision I ever saw at the time from that combination was the little tidbits that were in that Ratback game where it showed the cars ripping around this track. And I was pretty familiar with Bristol. I'd seen it in the NASCARs, but I could never fathom racing these cars around this track. It was almost like a fantasy combination, something that you couldn't quite believe actually happened. I mean, the track itself is what it is, but it's the whole Coliseum, the grandstands, everything else that goes with it. It just didn't seem real. And I mean, 20 years later to see these cars back in this configuration again is just badass as far as I'm concerned. I love that it's happening. I think it's awesome. I don't know who was involved or what it took to actually get this to happen, but I mean, kudos to them, because I'm pumped to see these things ripping around this track again. And I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be awesome. And to be able to run this car around here on iRacing is pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. By far, this is my most anticipated car to run on this track. So we're starting to smooth it out. We're starting to get a bit of a feel for it. Just ripping around the top here. Look at it go. That was pretty nice. What are we up to now for speeds? 140, yeah, 140 mile an hour. That's incredible. I mean, even in the corners, you're doing what, 115 miles an hour in the corners, like on a fairly worn out track. That's amazing. I don't know whether or not these things will actually race well here in real life or in iRacing. I mean, we'll find out again in due time, I guess. But yeah, for me, this is a nostalgia thing. Just being able to run around here again in a sprint car. It's been a long time. Very cool. Very, very cool. Ah, man, I love it. Anyway, that's probably going to do it. We'll check out the replay. That's a look at Bristol here with all the dirt cars on the service. Guys, let me know what you thought in the comments below if you liked it. And I'd love to hear from you guys to let me know what is your most anticipated combination here on the Bristol dirt track here on iRacing. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Hobbo88, twitch.tv/Hobbo88. Check out the live streams. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.